We are 25 weeks away from retirement, and the prepping continues. JJ does his Rosetta Stone daily, except last week we did not do that. We were so busy, and then this week we have Vacation Bible School, but we try to catch up on Rosetta Stone lessons. So we're picking that up again.
Kumakain ng itlog ang lalaki.
Natutulog, bab- natutulog ang babae.
Kumakain sila. Sandwich. Kumakain sila ng sandwich.
Naglalakad,
Ang or na?
batang lalaki. Naglalakad ang batang lalaki.
And Michael is continuing to do his Visayan language lesson. He's learning it through me and YouTube. And then he listens to Visayang Bisdak and other Visayan news. So we're getting along okay. We don't leave until June of next year, so they have plenty of time, especially JJ with his Tagalog lessons that he needed to learn because that is part of the curriculum in the Philippines. So today I want to talk to you about getting out of debt and staying out of debt. 2013, 2014, Michael had really hard time at his job. He was a supervisor and he takes things seriously. He comes home unhappy, very tired, exhausted, and it affects him so much that finally in 2014 I told him that he needs to stop that because it really is affecting him. His health and his demeanor is different. It went on and on for, it was like a daily thing for him. And he has a tendency that he does not know how to leave his job behind once he clocks out, and he brings it to the family. So anyway, I noticed that I changed his behavior. There was a point where when he comes home, as soon as he walks in from the garage, I could tell he had a bad day. And so finally one day I told him, I do not want to be a young widow because I'm pretty sure that if he keeps doing what he was doing, he's just gonna collapse or have a stroke. So I suggested to Michael, I want to take you back to the Philippines. I don't care what we're gonna do there. I don't care how we're gonna live. I don't care if we get a job or, a way of living, but I want to take you there because if you keep working and having that kind of problem, then one of these days you're just going to have a stroke and die. And I certainly do not want to be left as a young widow. I told him your sons need you, and there's no way I'm gonna raise them by myself. So I kind of put that in his head. Then my mom's caretaker suddenly died, and I want to go back home to be with her. I have three sisters and three brothers, but they're far away from my mom. And they have their own family and all that. You know, they have jobs in Manila. Our, our youngest brother has Down syndrome that is also living with my mom. And so my mom's taking care of him. And now that he doesn't have someone to look after them, then she really needs someone. I thought she really needs me. I really need to go back and do all that for her. So my mom at the time was in her mid 80s, 84, 85. She was healthy, but considering her age, she has a son who's like in his 40 who has Down syndrome, and his name is Marlon. And Marlon loves to cut cardboard boxes into triangles and rectangles and bind them together. That was his main thing. And so every time he doesn't have cardboard boxes anymore, he would go out to the highway. Philippines has this thing called variety store or sari-sari store. It, they sell all kinds of things, and so naturally they have boxes. My mom's neighbor across the street from her has a store, and if she runs out of boxes, then where Marlon gets his boxes. But if she runs out of boxes, then Marlon would go further and, you know, ask for boxes in other neighboring stores. And that's like in the highway. And that is kind of dangerous because he doesn't, you know, he has no, he has no, he has no idea how dangerous it is with all these big trucks and vans and, you know, the traffic, the vehicles. He has no sense of danger. So it's kind of scary if you let him just wander around. And then he has this thing where he goes to the beach. My mom's house is just about 5 minutes away from the beach. And so Marlon would just walk over, and sometimes he'd spend hours, even all day sometimes, you know, in the water. He doesn't go to the deep, but still, someone has to go and get him. Otherwise, he would just stay there until whenever he wants to come home. My mom, being in her 80s, you know, she cannot. I mean, there's just no way she can take care of Marlon and herself. So I decided I want to go and just be near her. And about that time, the work situation where Michael worked got really worse. And so he had made up his mind that he will go with me to the Philippines. And so, long story short, we sold everything and moved to the Philippines. And moved to the Philippines from 2015 up to 2018. My mom died in 2017 of pneumonia. After she died, we stayed another year to celebrate the first year death anniversary, and then we decided we need to come back home to America. So when we came back from the Philippines, we didn't have any debt. Before we left for the Philippines, we paid off our debt, and while we were living there, we decided you really don't need to get into debt. to live comfortably. We lived comfortably in the Philippines with minimal stuff. And so when we came back, we made a promise to ourselves that we're not gonna fill our house with material things, except for the basic necessities. We made a vow not to get into debt. We bought we bought our vehicles with cash, and we pay everything with cash except for this house. This is our only debt, actually. So, and we have learned to stay out of debt since we came back in 2018. And you know what? I find it very refreshing and a stress reliever too. Because before we went to the Philippines, we had a big house. And with a big house comes big electricity bills, you know, maintenance is one, insurance is one. And so when we came back from the Philippines, we have learned in our 3 years of living there, we have learned that you can be content and happy with little things. No, you know what I mean? Not bigger things, not the fanciest thing, not the latest thing. No, we were happy there, we were content there. And we were so relaxed, and there was no, I mean, there was no stress whatsoever. So that's what we decided on when we came back. We're gonna find a small house, and we're going to live frugally but comfortable. The cars that we use are not the latest, but it runs. That way we save money on the insurance and the tax. Everything we bring into the house is all paid for. I don't have a credit card. Michael has one credit card for emergency. That's it, but we don't even use it. So that's how we stay out of debt. You stay within your means. If possible, stay below your means. And you know what, guys? When you do that, you will see your bank account grow. I've never experienced that before, because you have a big mortgage and you have 2 car payments, and then when it comes to the insurance coverage, you have to pay for those. And then when it comes to renew your tag, then your car's tax is higher because you get a newer model car. Those were, like, to me, was stupid. Those were our stupid years, I say. Now that we're older, really don't care. We don't care anymore what our friends think, what kind of cars we drive, where we live. This area here where we are, most of the people here are renters, but they still keep their yards nice and clean. And this is really a quiet neighborhood. Yeah, from our experience living in the Philippines, Michael has experienced what life is over there. And so I'm glad that he did. I'm glad that we did that, because Now he knows what I mean when I say you really don't need that. You know, we really don't need to get this. We really don't need to have that. It was a blessing that we were able to do, we were able to live there. And no, we didn't get into debt going there. We were able to use the money that we got from the sale of our house, and but we were still able to save enough to get us back here and buy our cars cash. So it's been great. We got out of debt in 2015, and until now we've stayed out of debt, and it's a great feeling. We are not afraid to go. Michael can quit his job anytime he wants. So that's one thing you have to think about when you think about moving to the Philippines. You get your finances in order first, and then things will be easier if you don't have a debt. I know according to statistics, the average American has a debt of 10,000. Yikes. That is, to me, hurts. But thankfully, we are not part of that statistic. We can pull the plug anytime because we're not we're not tied to anything. We don't have debt. We don't have any payments to make. Try to discipline yourself to live within your means, and then save as much as you can. So guys, that is my take for today. If you want to move to the Philippines, you need to take care of your finances first and get out of debt now and stay out of debt. Because to me, debt is like bondage. Well, it is bondage. And who wants to be bondage to something? Who wants to be tied to something? I mean, we love it. Being debt free is stress free, and we're happy and we're content, and we're free. So yeah, get out of debt now and stay out of debt. And when you get to the Philippines, please don't get into debt either. I see some expats there who get into debt, by having car loans, when you can find a used car somewhere without getting into debt. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not rambling along and not making sense, but the main thing is to stay out of debt and to live within your means. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening. This is Midlife Wanderings. I'll see you on my next vlog. Bye.